Hello and welcome back to Pod Popper's Place and another Stick It Down challenge. For this month, I'm going to be using some washi paper, and I decided to cut it with a die from my stack because the regular cutting blade just wasn't cutting it smoothly. And then I'm going to use a die that's for hillsides, and I'm going to use that for my sentiment strip to create a sentiment strip that has a nice even size going away across the top and the bottom. And I cut that, and the sentiment strip isn't waving exactly as the design shows, but it gives it a nice little wave. And then I'm going to use this set from the Greeting Farm, and I'm just going to be using the cherry blossoms. And I had originally planned to stamp it in the gold on this vellum and then use some clear embossing powder over it and then just cut them out. But I ended up using 2 cherry blossoms, one on top and bottom, as just my design for the paper instead. And I used some alcohol markers to color the florals in, and I just dab it with cloth to keep the alcohol ink from spreading over on the wrong side of the paper. And then I use the sentiment strip going right through the middle, and I use some double-sided adhesive tape to stick the vellum paper down, and I try to hide it behind the sentiment strip because sometimes you see through. But actually I was quite surprised that the strip actually didn't show very much, and I was able to add some later to the corners to kind of keep the vellum paper from popping up. And then I used the sentiment strip right in the center, and it's probably a little bit different in the placement than the actual design, but that's what's nice about these, is you kind of make it your own. And then I had this set of stamps, words. I think it's a inexpensive set from Michaels, and they're super bendy, which was really nice because I was able to bend it to the shape of the sentiment that I wanted. And I just went ahead and used some StazOn ink, and you have to be very careful because I did use metallic paper not to slide it around with the StazOn, but I was able to get a super nice impression, and I was super happy about that. So I actually let it set overnight before I continued with the card because I wanted to make sure the StazOn ink was completely dry on the metallic paper. So now I have balance on there, which I think with the cherry blossoms on top and bottom is kind of the perfect word for that. And I did some embossing folder with the pink just to give it a little pop behind it, and then finished it off with the gold around the edge. And as you can see, I added that tape, the double-sided tape on the corners just to keep that vellum down. And then I added the 3 gold blings there at the top. And the nice thing about this design is that it's so simple that you can really do a lot to make it your own. Thanks so much for watching. Check out the Stick It Down challenge in the description box below.